Oh man, here we go again. We're going to talk a little bit about the Hebrew rootin'. All the rage and all the craze today with these kids, the Hebrew rootin'. Got to go to church on Saturday, got to do this, got to do that, and be a hypocrite and laughed at and whatever. So, just want to go over a thing here's just quickly, a quick relation thing to, how I got out of that stuff was by understanding how dispensations worked. And I don't need to go through the entire thing all the way back to Darby or Schofield or all these things where they have, this is where this dispensation is, and this dispensation, and this dispensation. Really, you can skip all of that and just go straight to Old Testament and New Testament, which anybody who believes in Hebrew roots doesn't really believe in an Old and New Testament. They pretty much have to throw out the Apostle Paul completely. And if you're a dispensationalist, it all makes perfect sense. You don't throw anything out at all. You don't question anything that's written in any of the books anywhere, because wherever there is an apparent contradiction, you can look at it and go, oh, this is back here in the Old Testament speaking to these people here. That means that it probably doesn't apply to me today. Okay? All right. Not saying that there's not good instruction in righteousness and things that are good in the Old Testament for people today. But when people get upset when you say, when you have a new convert to Christ and you give them a Bible and they ask where should it start, when you say, well, start in the New Testament, maybe start in the book of John, that is not incorrect, because we are living in the New Testament. Now, let me relay this to people in a way that A, makes Hebrew rooters look like idiots, and B, makes common sense to people out there. All right. Let's say you work at a company, let's call it a car manufacturing company, all right? You work on the sales team. You're in the sales team. And there's a big meeting, and we get all the different departments together. And the other ones, the guys that are next to you, are the manufacturing team. They're the ones putting cars together, doing adjustments to the cars. And after they roll out, then it's your job on the sales team to go then sell those cars. And you've got the CEO, the head of the company up there, who's telling everybody, going through all the departments, and he goes to manufacturing, and he tells the manufacturing people, look, we're going to change the tire size on this particular type of car. We're going to roll that out immediately. Because for whatever reason, shortage on rubber, you guys need to change the tires. And that's what you're going to do here. And then he goes to the sales force and goes, okay, well, this is the new cars that are coming out. We want you to advertise this type of car and really push XYZ for sales and these accessories to be a good sales team for us. All right. Everyone claps their hands. Everyone goes out the meeting. What the Hebrew rooter does, right, who's working on the sales team, the Hebrew rooter on the sales team goes out to the lot, and instead of selling cars, he goes out there and starts changing the tires. That's what the Hebrew rooter does. Okay? And then he goes back. What do you think the boss is going to say? They're going to say, hey, Hebrew rooter, how come you're not selling any cars? And the Hebrew rooter is going to be like, man, I was just changing the tires like you told them to do. That's how much sense it makes. Now apply this to your job. All right. Apply it to your job and what you do and the people you work with and the meetings that you go to. If you took what your boss told someone else to do as your personal thing, wouldn't that be kind of dumb? Wouldn't that be kind of stupid? So when the Bible in the Old Testament to the Jews, specifically covenant to the Jews in their generations, their genealogy, the physical seed, and you, 2,000 years later, decide you're going to take that as being your personal, what you need to do, rather than following the New Testament and what the early church told you to do as a Christian. All this nonsense about dispensationalism being a cult or something, or dispensationalism, people kind of poo-pooing at this and that. It's like, it's just a modern terminology for what the original apostles, the original Christ church, they were dispensationalists. The very fact being proved when Paul rebuked Peter for trying to be a Hebrew rooter, and Jesus rebuking Peter for the same thing. It's like, look, we're not about that anymore. We're moving on to a new thing. When you start a job and they train you in how to do your job, do you ask the boss, what were you doing 200 years ago? Can you train me in what you were doing 200 years ago? No, because it's not relevant. This whole idea, oh no, we got to go back to the Torah. Well, yeah, the Old Testament's in the Bible. You can certainly go and read that. But if you think you're somehow being righteous or being right by God by following the commandments that you pick and choose and decide, I can follow that one, I can kind of follow that one, and then I can lord it over somebody's head to say I'm a better Christian than you, you're probably lost. You're probably going to hell if that's who you are. All right? Because you don't understand the gospel at all. At all. And on that note, with the Hebrew roots thing and having to go back to wherever they want to go, they don't have a Bible. Oh, it's the Torah. Well, how do you know the Torah hasn't been grabbled? How do you know the Torah was faithfully preserved? How do you know that? Right? Oh, well, I took a semester in Hebrew and I can translate it myself. So it's like, okay, you bought a shelf from IKEA and you got the instruction manual out there and you open it up to page 1 and it's in Swedish. Does that mean that because it's in the beginning of your little instruction manual that you need to go find a Swedish to English dictionary and go retranslate that manual yourself? Or do you flip it to the next chapter where it's written in English to English-speaking people? What do you think? Anyways, that's about what I got. I hope I made myself clear. And the point, we're going to get a lot more Hebrew roots, guys. All the craze and all the rage. And it's been co-opted now, and the whole, flat earth people apparently are all going Hebrew root and stuff. So they've completely wrecked any legitimacy that ever had. And it's too bad. It's too bad. And, 'tis what it is, but it is literally the ridiculousness of trying to do somebody else's job because the boss told somebody else to do it. Talking to somebody else, you look like a fool. And the notion that you're keeping the Sabbath, I'd hope that you're keeping the Sabbath, because if you don't keep it, you're supposed to be put to death. And if you don't put other people to death who aren't keeping the Sabbath, you're also breaking the commandment. And on that note, that happy, fun note for the Hebrew rooters out there, we're going to be done.